What's up, Will? Yeah, we're making progress, man. We went for, I mean, it's cold as goddamn fuck today, but it's not windy, so we went for a walk, and they actually did really well. Um, Buck didn't try to repeatedly harass Goose outside, and he's doing pretty good this morning. Goose has checked him a few times, and I think he's starting to get the hint. Because I've been intervening. Look, my cheap ass shoe rack, Grizz and Goose were playing one day, and they just they broke the corner pieces, so it don't stay together anymore. But they, but I've only had to separate Buck from Goose maybe once or twice, and much calmer today. Much calmer today. But when he starts to get demanding, I just I give him a chance, and then it's like, hey, you're gonna be disrespectful. You go to the crate, man. He protests, and then he calms down after a couple minutes. But overall, he's doing much better today. Usually, anytime I have a new dog here, the first day is always a bit crazy. What's up, OT? First day is always a bit crazy. We tend to settle down after about 24 hours. But there's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of repetition. Appreciate you guys both liking the videos. Yeah, yesterday, I mean, you both saw it. Buck was just nonstop trying to get the Goose. Nonstop. This pattern of like, I gotta get to the window. I gotta get the Goose. I gotta, just. I do think he has to go to the bathroom though, because he's been coming. Well, I took him out, and he didn't go, but I do suspect that he does have to go. He drank a bunch of water. You need some more water, Buck? Come here. Get him some water real quick. He's very persistent. Yeah, my nickname for him is gonna be Young Buck. Hold on though. He's a fucking slob when it comes to water, so I'm gonna dry off his mouth real quick once he's done. All right. But, with dogs like him, you got to be persistent. You got to be more persistent than them. I often tell clients too, like puppyhood is something no matter, you could do everything right day to day, puppyhood is still going to be challenging. It's still something you get through. But the important thing is that you're building a foundation for when the dog does reach, its teenage phase and then into adulthood, that those phases are much, much smoother. And then the dog becomes an adult and things are much, the maturity starts to show. Go. You may need to go to the bathroom. I suspect you have to pee. Yeah, I suspect you have to pee. Right, OT. It's that word that I hate so much. You hear it where people talk about enrichment. Oh, we got to enrich the dog. Enrichment activity. I fucking hate that word. Yeah, and dogs like him, especially his age, it's like they have to have constant entertainment. Otherwise, they just don't know what to do with themselves, and it's working on that impulse, that need to constantly be doing something is important. Yeah, now you want to start acting up. He has not earned furniture privileges yet. Now you've been doing good all morning, and now you want to start acting like a butt. You're gonna go in the crate. You're gonna go in the crate, buddy. And of course, just like every other dog his age, you can give them 5,000 things to mess with. They'll be bored with all of it in about 10 minutes. So it's like, what's the point? Right? You even give them I gave him a bunch of bones and stuff this morning. He chewed on this for like 2 minutes. Chewed on that for about 2 minutes. His owner's got him a new toy on that for 2 minutes. And then it's like they can't, they're always on to the next thing. They're never satisfied with just whatever they've got. It's like a crack addict looking for their next hit, There's got to be something else. And unfortunately, that's just a byproduct of their age, It's a byproduct of where they're at. Exactly, OT, right. The dog always wants what you didn't, exactly. Or you could have some, like, I could give that bone that he doesn't give a fuck about right now to Goose, and he'll only want it now because Goose has it. You know what I mean? It's like, seriously. And now he wants this bone because now I've taken it. But you can't get pushy. Like that. You can't be pushy. That's not how you get what you want. But dogs like him they're that way, man. They're always pushing, demanding. Give me that. No, don't work that way. But this is where people fail, is they'll often, out of frustration or impatience or whatever, they'll just give in to the dog because the dog is more persistent than them. And then they wonder why the dog ends up, they reach a teenager and the dog is just a fucking nightmare. See, it's like you could do that all day long. I don't care. Don't care. Don't care. Yeah, I don't care. It's like Beckman says, I'll do this all day long. I'll do this all day long. Yeah, we do this all day long, man. I've done it all day long, and I'll do it all day long again. I found with him too, just ignoring him works better. I will address him here and there, but just ignoring him works much better. Especially like once he goes in his crate, he'll protest for a couple minutes. I just ignore him, and then he's like, "All right, fine, I get it." Exactly, OT. They'll act the way you allow them to act. There are no, the people are the same way. Like, if somebody knows you're a pushover, people will treat you that way. I think it's just kind of a principle of nature, right? The weak get consumed. Oh, this is mine now too. The weak get consumed, It's just how it is. The strong control everything, and the weak they end up where they end up. Oh yeah, OT. Paw on the face. Because sometimes too, it's like there's this line where even addressing when a dog demands something from you, sometimes they thrive on that attention. So they'll bark at you because they know you'll engage. It's like there's a time, you have to kind of feel it out. There's a time when, all right, I will address it, and there's a time when I'm just going to ignore it. Because I still want him to know that I don't like it. But beyond that, you're not going to get anything more out of me. But this is also why, young dogs, one thing people fail, or a common mistake with puppies, is they give them way too much freedom too soon. And so, even a dog like him, you give him too much, they can't handle it. They can't handle all that freedom. And Goose is over here like, I'm over it, man. She's like, I'm over it. What's up, Delta? Just doing a quick stream. I'm hungry. I'm going to eat in a bit. But we were having a really good morning until I fired up the live stream, of course. There ain't nothing up there, man. There ain't nothing up there. Oh, yeah, OT. Well, I hope he's feeling better, man. For some reason, Goose really loves she loves crates. I don't have one for her, but anytime one's here, she always loves to go in it. She just loves being in one. She just kind of took it over. I may have to kick you out of there in a minute, Goose. I may have to put him in there. But what I tend to look for, yeah, she chose to do that though. She loves just going in there on her own. I don't know what she's one of those dogs that just enjoys being in there. I remember the first day I brought her home. I had a crate set up for her because I wasn't sure yet what to expect, and I just wanted to have it ready. Because she had house training issues when I got her, and so I had one, and I went out to eat, and she ended up having an accident in the crate because she was like pissing out of her butt when I got her, just really bad diarrhea. And when I came back home, she wouldn't even come out of the crate. She didn't want to come out of the crate. I'm trying to pull her out. She wouldn't come out. But yeah, I've had a few dogs stay here with crates, and she just likes going in them. I don't know. But see, my Bruno was like that. I used the crate for him when I had him originally, or when I got him, and then after we didn't need it, I just kept it, and he just liked going in there. It's like this little den. He liked going in there and just sleeping. Now, one thing I like with dogs like Buck, there's this process of, like, if you saw it yesterday, it was this incessant power struggle, right? This constant back and forth. And so that first one is always going to be the longest and the hardest. And so what I look for is every time we engage in this, do we get through it quicker, and is it less intense? And every time, day after day, it should be quicker and less intense. Not to say you may have some bad days here and there, but the overall trend should be this pushback he gives you. Is he starting to understand the message, which is, A, I'm telling him what I don't like, and this pattern he's trying to engage in, is he going to become more agreeable to me stopping him? Is this power struggle going to be less of a thing? Like this. This is listed. Anytime he laid down yesterday, he still was not calm. He got back up after like 5 seconds. So let's see how short-lived this is today. But he was much more intense yesterday. Took him a while to lay down yesterday. Right, OT. And that's what you want to see. That's what I look for. Is I expect them every day, but day to day, are we, if we're engaging in that power struggle correctly, and we're coming out on the other side winning those struggles, then we should see, like this. He could not do this yesterday. He couldn't just lay down, start to relax. He would have been up fucking 20 seconds ago already. Yeah, and that's what I'm looking for. Like, he could not achieve this yesterday. I had to put him in the crate. He couldn't do this yesterday. This was impossible yesterday. I mean, you saw it. You guys saw it. He couldn't do this yesterday. But this is what I look for day to day. Can we achieve? How long is it going to take to achieve this? Because this is what I wanted him to do yesterday. Like I was saying, what I wanted him to do this, and now there we are. He couldn't do it yesterday, though. But that's why I titled this 24 hours. You can get a lot done in a day. And it's not so. And see, this is the mindset that I wish it's like one of the biggest core things I'm trying to educate people on, is people would approach this from a perspective of training. They'll whip out the treat bag or they'll whip out the e-collar and all that bullshit. And now it's all about trying to, quote, train obedience. And not only is it going to take you a lot fucking longer, but you're looking at things through the wrong lens. So you can get things achieved much quicker and much more effectively when you approach it through the right lens. As demonstrated here, like I said, you could not do this yesterday. No, I've never heard of that OT. Is the Golden Kobe family, is that like a breed? But no, I never heard of that. Now we have achieved harmony. This is what I this is what I was looking for. And I'm glad I caught it on live stream. Oh, no shit, OT, huh? Oh, no, I didn't know that. Golden Kobe family. Are they on YouTube or something? He's also doing much better. Like when he hears sounds upstairs, if you guys were watching yesterday, like he was barking at it, reacting to it. He's done much better. Like you can tell he heard the sounds here, but he's not reacting to the sounds like he used to. What do you mean, OT? I know I'll come across as a jerk because if you try, what do you mean? Gotcha. I'll have to look them up, OT. Appreciate whoever liked the video. Thank you. You are seeing what I do in real time. You are seeing the results happen in real time. And if you were here yesterday, you would know that we didn't achieve this yesterday. So I'm actually very proud of Buck. Very, very proud of him right now. I did have to employ the Beckman collar grab earlier. Buck was getting a little, well, I think that was last night actually. Buck was getting a little feisty last night. All good, man. All good. Oh, you mean Mark by that? I got you. Yep. Yes, I have OT. No, it's not something you allow. I don't see. I haven't seen. Bruno used to do that. I haven't met too many other dogs that I. Well, can I? Does Goose do that? I don't think Goose really does that. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think. I've not encountered many dogs who do it. Bruno used to do that though. So, this is nice. This is nice. This is what it's about right here. This is nice. This is what we were looking for yesterday. But remember, it's not about appearances. Even though I just showed I just showed Buck acting like a fool. And how do we address that? Well, we should come out on the other side with this. I didn't tell Buck sit, didn't tell him down. He did all that shit on his own. Which is what I want. I want him to do that on his own. I want him to give in willingly. Understanding this power struggle. He's not going to this shit. Right? So the result of that is, okay, I give in. I submit. But I also achieve a calm and relaxed state of mind as a result of the submission. Rather than I'm going to battle you to the end of time. It's like, well, one of us got to win that. And it's never going to be the dog. But there's oftentimes why people, they sometimes sometimes your dog may be engaging in a power struggle. You might not even know it. And so you may be losing that power struggle daily and not even being aware of it. So you have to be aware of like, what is the dog actually doing? Like, what is going through the dog's head at this moment? So if I know the dog is intentionally engaging in a power struggle, trying to combat me, well, I got to see that through. That's why I love Beckman's, he always says, I do this all day long. Yeah, you're going to have to be willing. But that also requires a lot of patience. So that's kind of a muscle you got to develop. You got to be patient. Calm, assertive, patient. Yeah, I don't know, T. I don't really see lifting the legs as being like a jockeying of rank. Some dogs lift their legs and some dogs don't. Like Grizz pees like a girl and Buck pees like a girl. So, you know, he doesn't lift his leg when he pees, but he's definitely, jockeying for rank, so to speak. Grizz used to do the same shit. Exactly, OT. It's like that's why some things are better. Like, um, for me, making everything an organic part of the day is important. However, if there are specific things you're working through, it's best to, if you know you don't have the time, on a particular day, if you know that dog is going to battle you, then make sure you engage with the dog in that way over that thing on a day you know you have the time to see that through because it may take a while. There's nothing worse than engaging in a power struggle and being like, fuck, I gotta go to work or something, and then ending it. It's like, shit. You're gonna fuck yourself over that way. And sometimes it's unavoidable. It depends on the situation. Sometimes you don't have a choice. I get that. But that's why, like, when I book a session with a client and I go to their home, I guarantee 2 hours of time, but I often say some things take longer. If we go 3, 4 hours, so be it. It doesn't change the rate. Because sometimes you might get into it with with the dog, and it's just gonna you got to battle it out. It's gonna take time, and I don't. You know, it really depends on the dog. I don't have a prediction. Um, so I make sure we set that time aside, knowing that it's going to go that route. All right, well, I got to see it through. And see, this is the difference too. Like for those of you that tuned in yesterday, you would notice that Buck was able to lay down yesterday for like 5 seconds, and then he was back up. 5 seconds, back up. He couldn't lay down, relax, and fucking go to sleep. That's when the dog is completely given in. Like they're done. It's over. He couldn't do that yesterday. So, really great moment. Really great moment to catch on live stream. I wouldn't say that's odd OT, you know, because if that dog really wants that box, or are you saying you saying he fought over the box, or are you saying he actually was like fighting the box? Let me make sure I understand you first before I say anything. But you know, I have so many videos where I show engaging in a power struggle with a dog, but this is, you know, for those that haven't, because some videos are long. So for those that haven't seen that, this is what it should. This is what the result should be when a dog engages that way with you. It's like, all right, I give in, I give up. You win. He fought the box. That is okay. I'll agree. That is odd. Fighting the box is definitely definitely. That's pretty funny. Although I used to find it amusing. I wouldn't say it's odd, but I used to find it amusing when I would take Kaylee and Bruno for a walk. You know, we'd always find like a stray McDonald's cup or something on the ground, and Bruno always wanted to pee on the McDonald's cups. It's like that's my fucking McDonald's cup. I thought it was hilarious. Whoever liked the video, appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's it. Just that's funny, OT. I'd get some amusement out of that. What's up, James? Uh-oh, stuck in tiny window. When it does that, is the video frozen, James, or is it just stuck in the tiny window? I've had that happen before. It's so annoying. Sometimes I'll like lock the phone and then unlock it. Sometimes it fixes it, sometimes it don't. Sometimes you just gotta restart the fucking phone, you know? But you missed it, James. I just you know, Buck's been having a pretty good day. I got you. I got you. Now Buck, you know, because you joined us for a little bit yesterday, but Buck engaged in a power struggle again, except this time it went much faster. And he could not do this yesterday. We were not able to get him to a point where he submitted, gave in, and now is just done with it to the point where he's relaxed and, you know, sleeping. So what didn't be achieved last night, we have now achieved. Glad I could capture it. But you know, it's interesting too, because the people that talk about dogs making choices, right? And how they believe it's about the dog making choices. Well, you'll never achieve this unless you restrict the dog's ability to make choices. Restricting a dog's ability to make choices is usually what brings about the power struggle. You're forcing them to confront you. And when they express that disagreeableness to that, you know, this is Buck giving up control. He was trying to get the bones. I said no. He's trying to jump on the couch and I think even jump over the couch. I said no. He's trying to get around me to go in the kitchen and all that shit. I said no. All the same shit he was doing yesterday. And he would give in briefly for, you know, a few seconds here, but then he'd be right back at it. Well, he finally understands. And that's not to say like we've achieved the goal, but it's not to say he won't do this again later today. It's not to say he won't do it tomorrow. But are these power struggles becoming less significant, less intense, less time consuming until the dog just doesn't do it anymore. The dog is now achieving the correct state of mind where it's not going to engage in a power struggle. It's not going to push back. It's not going to demand. It just understands, okay, this individual is stronger than me. This is the authority I must follow. I can't do that anymore. Right, OT. And that's where I think people misunderstand what I promote, where the dog's choices, you want to reach a place, the whole process should be about the dog eventually ending up in a place where the dog understands exactly what's expected of it, what your expectations are, no matter where you go. And the choices that dog makes now are always going to be in alignment with your expectations. And should the dog make a choice that's outside of that, you could very quickly, you know, snap your finger or something or direct them away and they will listen. They'll respect it. They'll be like, oh, okay, you don't want me to do that. My bad. They won't engage in a power struggle because you're saying no. It's just like, all right, cool. We'll do it your way. But when you have a dog like Buck, it is all about restricting choices because the choices he's making are all about Buck and not about what I want. And when you have a dog that's operating on its own initiative, then that's when problems happen. That's when you take it outside, and those are the dogs you can never get off leash because they're going to do whatever the fuck they want. They'll see a person or a squirrel and they'll just take off, or they won't even, you know, they'll just dismiss you entirely. It's like a fucking free for all. But it's very clear, like when I take Goose for an off leash walk, it's very clear that the choices she's making are within that follower context. It's all under my authority. She's not going to make choices. If for instance, maybe she crosses the street and I don't want her to, I just snap my finger and call her back. She does it. You know what I mean? It's not that she's trying to be disrespectful or trying to. She just for, you know, usually it's sound, sometimes sounds she's avoidant of them. So she'll kind of go her own way because of a sound, but I'll tell her like, no, get back over here. And we get back on track. But she's not gonna like run after people or run after dogs or react to dogs or chase prey or any of that because I don't want her. It's not, she doesn't have permission to do that. So this for me is a beautiful moment here. Beautiful moment. This is the first time since he's been here where I've been able to keep him outside of the crate and him just chill out. Him not have to be in the crate to do this, which is great. And yesterday I even attempted to put the leash on him. And that really wasn't changing much. Didn't have to use the leash today. Although we did go for a walk and the walk went pretty well. He did pretty well out there. Maybe I'll make a video showing the difference, what we did yesterday versus just how it went today. But at any rate, I appreciate everybody joining. Appreciate everybody who liked the video. Thank you very much. If you're new to the channel, that is my dog, Grey Goose. That is a client's dog, Buck. And we have achieved today what we could not achieve yesterday. Which is very, very good. But it also speaks to the point that everything with dogs is a process. Working through things is a process. Sometimes it can be a time-consuming process, but it is a process. And it is a mental and emotional process. The physical is a component, but what we're trying to do is change how the dog sees us, change the mentality towards, the attitude towards us. It's like Brandon Fouché calls it hormone therapy, consequence therapy. Discipline and domination applied correctly you're influencing the dog from the inside out rather than from the outside in. Which to me, dog training is like trying to put shit onto the dog to change it from the outside in. Well, when you approach things on a relational level, on a social level, on a level that dogs naturally operate on, hierarchy, and as I said, discipline and domination in the right way, then we can influence from the inside. And when we influence from the inside, this is what eventually leads us to the end result, being able to take everything off because we have changed things internally. So if you're at a point where you just can never get the damn tools off, and the leash included, then your ability to influence. And I've said this before. The more you have to rely on tools and force, means your ability to influence is that much poorer. When your ability to influence is greater, you don't need the tools as much, or the tools are a short-lived mean to an end. You use them as long as necessary to achieve that certain result, and then you phase them out. You get rid of them. It's all about working on the inside. And that is how you end up with a dog who willingly follows versus who's being forced to follow. Dog who's forced to follow, you take the tools off, and that's like freedom. Hey, see ya. I'm out of here. Bye. Like a dog doesn't want to follow you, but you influence inside the correct way, and that dog will willingly follow you. Yeah, you see, yesterday when he heard loud bangs upstairs, he was barking his head off. Now it's like, Ain't that big a deal. He's still hearing it, but he's not reacting like he was last night. Right, Buck? You're doing a great job, buddy. Yeah, you're doing a great job, buddy. See, this is a moment when he's been like this for a while now. This would be the moment where I would say giving affection is appropriate. This is the state of mind that I would through touch say, you know, I would want to nurture. But what was happening before this? Hell no. Not the time. That's the time for discipline and domination. Right? Come here, Buck. Yeah. You're doing great, man. You're doing great. Yeah, you're doing great, man. You're doing great. You got a long way to go, man. You're 5 months old. You got a long way to go. Still got a long road ahead, but we'll get there, man. We'll get there. And see, now that he's earned it, it's like, hey, you want something to chew on, man? Yeah. Now I'll give you something. You want to have something? Now he gets the goodies. And that's how we structure things. See, for some reason, people, I don't know, I keep hearing this from one individual saying structure comes through the crate. Well, structure is so much more than just a crate. And you could put a dog in a crate and the dog not be agreeable to being in the crate. So that level of structure doesn't matter if you can't get the dog to be agreeable to being in the crate. But structure is how are you structuring everything? The relationship you build is structure. Defining roles is structure. Me understanding that him when he's demanding shit from me or being disagreeable to what I'm saying and him barking at me, knowing that that's not the time for affection but the time for discipline, that's structure. And then when he gives in, submits, achieves the correct state of mind, okay, now you get what you want. Now I will happily give you affection. That's part of the structure. It's not just a haphazard, I just give it willy-nilly. No, there's a way we go about this shit. There's an order to things. That is structure. There's levels to this shit. Can I get an amen? What's up, Darth? I totally agree with you, Darth. That's actually, you know what? That's actually, man, I don't think I've ever, that's such a good point. That's such a good fucking point, Darth. And you know why? Because, tell me what you think. But definitely, OT, that's part of structure too. The routine is definitely part of structure. Absolutely. Totally agree. Dogs can build structure. We just have to be careful that the dog isn't built. The dog isn't the one applying structure to us. We're the ones applying the structure to them. And so, you ever hear people say like, when a dog maybe bites them, they'll say, "Oh, it came out of nowhere," or they think it's for no reason. Well, my conclusion to that is if the power dynamics are not balanced correctly, like if the dog is the one that believes it's at the top of the hierarchy of the home, then the dog is going to be the one making rules for everybody in the home. And so if you violate that one of the unspoken rules that nobody knows about, the dog will discipline you. The dog will bite you. The dog may warn you. So the dog is creating structure for you, right? The dog is now saying you can't operate. You violate, you go outside of my rules, I'm going to discipline you. So now the dog is creating structure for you. We want that reversed. We create structure for the dog. Definitely, OT. Yeah, and it's like you set those lines. So what are those limits? And when you have dogs playing too, it's like you don't go beyond this threshold. Things don't get out of control. Things don't escalate. Where's that line in the sand? What are the rules? Definitely, that's part of the. It's all part of the structure, man. Totally agree. Appreciate the hearts and the hundreds, man. Love it. Thank you, guys. Appreciate everybody joining. And what I just did with him, that is me applying structure. He's trying to wander all over the apartment and I'm blocking him. He's trying to jump on the couch. I'm saying, no, you can't go there. He's trying to grab shit. I'm saying, no, you can't have that. Yeah, nothing wrong with that, OT. Especially if you have dogs that still maybe have issues around things. But it's a beautiful thing too when you can go from him being, all the whining, the barking, the demand, this, he's just looking for shit to calm, relaxed, submissive. What's up, Ryan? Yeah, at the beginning though, we got into a little bit of a power struggle, but Buck finally gave in. So we achieved today what we could not achieve yesterday, and it's a beautiful thing. All right, January 16th. Okay, well, the search begins. Isn't that's kind of ironic, Ryan? You're staring down a dog. You can't even see. You can't, or you can't see that well. I see. Yeah, well, 'cause here's the thing, right? And I think you saw that video I posted where I talk about, don't treat the little dogs any different than the big dogs, and a lot of the little dogs have Napoleon syndrome because they're fucking spoiled, they're babied, so they act like little assholes, they're too empowered. That's why you have these all these chihuahuas running out here fucking biting people and they're little demon dogs. Like, well, you guys create these demons, you guys baby the fuck out of these little chihuahuas, and you wonder why they act the way they do. Yeah, it amazes me because it's like y'all think it's cute when a little dog, is barking and biting the air and snapping or whatever, but if that dog were a Rottweiler, you would not think it's so funny. So why do we accept it just because the dog's little? Yeah, they do, OT. They do. And it's so funny too. It's so funny because those those people will call they'll call people like me for help, but then when you watch how they interact with their dog, they just let the dog get away with everything. It's like, well, you have to do something. You never tell the dog no or tell it you don't never verbalize that you don't like it. So why would the dog believe otherwise, you know? And it's like at that moment things make sense. And I'm thinking, how does this thought not enter your mind ahead of time? But sometimes people say, well, I just don't know how to address it. It's like, oh, okay, I get it. I get that. But I see that with all kinds of little dogs, you know. Or, you know, what really chaps my ass is the people with the little dogs. They put them in their fucking purses or they got the little carrying bag. It's like, walk your fucking dog. And those are the dogs that are usually like they're so skittish and afraid of everything. It's like, well, you don't expose them to anything. You put them in your goddamn bag everywhere you go. Why don't you walk the fucking dog? All right, Ryan, do what you got to do, man, for sure. Oh yeah, was that guy something off with that guy? OT. Do you have good reason? Yeah, here's a rule of thumb that I go by for people, just so you know. Um, if you have a dog who just barks or growls at everybody, then that's a you problem. But if you have a dog who, you know, 9 out of 10 people you encounter, your dog doesn't care about, but there's that one person that your dog reacts to, okay, it's very high likelihood that it's not your dog, it's the person. So I would just say that is like that would be a time where my dog's maybe trying to tell me something. But if your dog just barks at everybody, no, that's there's a problem in the relationship you have with the dog. That needs to be fixed. But if I got a dog who's like just barking at this one person, I'm like, okay, my dog never does that. It's like, okay, maybe there's something up with this fucking person. Yeah, there are exceptions, Ryan. It's just the people that do it everywhere they go, you know. Oh damn. Okay. All kinds of fucked up, huh, T? I'll tell you, Ryan, I would not recommend a lab, man. I would not recommend a lab. I know a lot of service dogs are labs. I'll tell it to you like this too. I had a friend who had a service dog who was a lab, but that was also a trained service dog. He bought that. He spent like $20,000 on that dog. He's blind. When the dog was working, dog was great, but when the dog was off the clock, dog was rowdy as hell. And labs are generally rowdy as hell. And so if you're going to the shelter to get like I would not get a lab out of the shelter and try. I definitely would not recommend it. Yeah, I agree, Ryan. Yeah, I wouldn't. You know, the coat of paint doesn't matter as much as the mindset that lives in the dog. Damn, OT. Well, I'm not sure, Ryan, what all I know is because, when I moved into the apartment I was in, he'd already lived there. So all I know is that he bought that dog. It was a train service dog. Um, if I had to guess, I'm sure it was just the regular ways they train service dogs, probably treat based. I don't know. But yeah, when it was working, it was phenomenal. But off the clock, not to say the dog was bad. It's just the dog was, a little bit much to handle for a blind person when the dog was off the clock. Well, pit bulls be pit bulling, man. Pit bulls require a strong owner, just like the shepherds. Generally, it's a general rule of thumb. You do get your pits that are easy. Yeah, yeah, you're doing good, bud. You're doing good. You're doing good. Yeah, you're doing good. I know. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Oh, she's coming out. She's coming out. Yeah, that'd be a dog I just would recommend. But you can have. I mean, labs do that shit too. So that's why I say I wouldn't recommend a lab. Labs are notorious for being horrible on a leash. I've not worked with a single lab that was good on a leash, and they're. It's funny when I hear people say the bullies are the hardest on a leash. Man, I'm like the bullies are the easiest for me. It's the fucking labs that are the hardest, in my opinion. Yeah, yeah. She ain't in the mood, man. Yeah, she ain't in the mood. Yeah, she ain't in the mood, man. Yeah, tell him, she ain't in the mood. She's small but mighty. Small but mighty. Exactly right. But I gotta say, compared to yesterday, he's not being as pushy with her as he was yesterday. Did really well outside actually. I took them both for a walk, and he didn't. He started kind of trying to harass her, but he gave it up pretty quick. He didn't. I kept him focused, and he didn't really make a thing out of it. I appreciate that, Ryan. I think so too. He's doing really well today. Sometimes I wish Goose was a full size American Bulldog. She's already a fucking force to be reckoned with, and I'm like, man, if you were a full size Bulldog, I can't imagine what you could do. Yeah, she's about to tell you again. You see how tense she's getting. This is what Grizzy used to do to her too. He used to do the same fucking thing. Yeah, now she's like, I'm taking the high ground. Get that 30-day back guarantee, Ryan. Say I need to test this dog out because I need it for specific reasons, and if it don't work out, I'm bringing it back. Oh, you should have seen it last night. It was beautiful. I was working with Buck on his research gardening with a roll, and Goose went in, and she took it from him, but man, she took it from him. And it was good for him to get that from a dog, because he's, asserting himself towards people, and she just came there, and I let her do it, and I was like, God damn it, I'm proud of you, girl. I'm proud of you, girl. Yeah. Yes. Pip was for dummies. I didn't know there was a Pip. Man, I guess it doesn't surprise me. I guess there's a dummies book for everything, isn't there? That's hilarious. And there you go, Ryan. Yeah, you just have to not give a fuck about what your roommates say. Be like, guys, this is it. Case closed. Leave it alone. Cool. All right, guys. I think Buck's got to pee. I think Buck's got to pee. I'm gonna end it here. I'm gonna take him out. I know it's been a minute, buddy. You drink a lot of water. All right, guys. Appreciate everybody joining. They are in the end, OT. I totally agree. They teach you the most, and they definitely, when you accomplish the goal, they're definitely the most rewarding, for sure. All right, guys, definitely. Like I said, I made that post part 2 of the series. I've been working on it the last few days. Yeah, definitely right. So good shit on the way. Anyway, guys, I will see you all later. Thanks for joining.